Hello and welcome to a commentary on a actual test that was conducted in Winchester in August 2025. And as we turn left out of the test centre, the examiner is wasting no time and he's going to ask the pupil to conduct the first of at least 3 pull-ups on the left-hand side. So not really a lot of time to kind of like get yourself kind of like prepared for this. But as you can kind of see, we go past the entrance on the left-hand side and we're going to pull up in this parking bay on the left-hand side of the road. Remember, as you move off, it's important to show the examiner that you're conducting all-round observations. So make sure that you're showing that you're doing both blind spots as well as your mirrors in front and behind. We'll then take the next road onto the right, which is Grafton Road. And as you can see, there's cars parked on both the left and the right, so we're actively scanning to see if there's any gaps that we can take in case any other vehicles are coming towards us. There's a very narrow gap here, so we're slowing down quite a lot, making sure that we check our mirrors centre and left and then centre and right as we move back out towards the other side of the road. Come to the end of the road, we're going to be turning right, and that's going to be onto Edgar Road. As soon as we get ourselves settled in Edgar Road, we're going to be asked to do our second pull-up on the left-hand side. So MSM, mirrors, signal manoeuvre, centre mirror and left to bring ourselves to a nice stop in the parking bay on the left-hand side of the road. And once again, all-round observations before we move off. I've used a little bit obstructed by the vehicle ahead, so we're going to be cautiously pulling out to see if there's any cars coming down the road that would mean we'd need to wait for them to clear before we get there. Now we're going to be approaching a crossroads here, and as you see, the sign for the give way lines is also highlighted, suggesting that this is quite a common area for problems. So taking extra caution, looking to the right, looking to the left, checking to the right just as you move off, and we're going to be turning right at those crossroads. We're going to follow the road ahead, paying attention to any vehicles that may be coming towards us. And we're going to take the next road on the left back onto Christchurch Road. Christchurch Road at this point has some change in widths. So we're going to have a narrow gap here with a delivery vehicle on our right hand side. Remember, where there's a van, there's a man. So be cautious that there may be a worker working around that vehicle or returning to it. Once again, oncoming traffic, we've pulled nicely in onto the left, checking our mirrors centre and left, and then centre and right to come back round out on ourselves. Another vehicle that's causing us to come out of the way into the left-hand side. And this is our third pull-up on the left. Safely move away. Another vehicle to give way to. And as we proceed further down the road, we're going to have a single lane section. So we're going to proceed with care. There's no clear markings on the floor telling us who's got priority. So we're going to be careful of oncoming vehicles. We can see one here, but we're clearly fully established already in the lane, and they've given way to us to continue through and finish that position. Back into the middle of the road, just checking as far down the road as we can see to see if there's any vehicles potentially coming towards us, then actively scanning for gaps. We're going to turn left onto Barnes Close. Once again, back in the middle of the road, so lots of scanning, looking for those gaps. And then at the end of the road, we're going to turn left onto St. Cross Road, which is the first main road that we're going to be dealing with today. So as I say, This is going to be the first turning onto a main road that we're going to have, so good chance that you're going to be needing to give way. Peep and creep up to the give way line if you can. Obviously in this case we come to a full stop and then we've waited for our gap. Constantly checking right and then left and then right to work out when it's safe to go onto the road. We're going to take a right hand turn here onto Kingsgate Road. So we've got some oncoming vehicles, so we're going to wait in our turning point using the markings on the road we're joining as our reference point, and when we've got a clear gap we're going to make our move. The road's going to sweep round to the left. We have got some signs for schools, but at the moment obviously we're in summer break. And then just up ahead we're going to turn right into Garnier Road. We've got some warning signs about height restrictions, which is obviously not a concern for us. We've got slow markings on the floor as we've got a significant bend to the right. We've got people crossing the road, so we're going to be slowing our speed a little bit. And whilst we're doing that, we're going to be checking centre mirror and right just to check what's behind us. And now we come up to a section where we've got some changes in priorities. At the moment, we've got priority here, but the vehicles were already established, so we've allowed them to come through before we've moved off. Once again, slows on the floor, warning about hazards ahead. And as we negotiate the area here, we've now got a national speed limit sign, so we're going to be speeding up potentially. We've still got parked vehicles on the road, so in this circumstance we're having to give way as it wasn't safe for us to go around this vehicle before the oncoming vehicle got to us. And as you can see, there weren't very many opportunities for getting out of the way afterwards, so that was a good decision. The sign ahead is telling us that the road narrows on both sides, but we do have priority, so we're continuing our journey. So we've got another couple of changes in road layout ahead. The first bridge is quite narrow. It's enough space for two vehicles, but we're going to slow down just to make ourselves a little bit more comfortable. And then we've got an archway bridge, which we have priority for as it's only a single lane. And then as we negotiate that, we're going to be starting to move out on some more open road where we can actually start to increase our speed. Remember, always drive at a speed that's appropriate for the road you're on and the weather conditions. Drive in the distance that you can kind of like see. It's a speed limit, not a target, so you don't have to reach that limit unless it is safe to do so. And then as we continue, we see some cars coming out of the junction on our left-hand side. And then we're going to approach our first roundabout where we're going to be asked to turn right, and it's the second exit. We've gone to the inside of the roundabout, signalling right, and then we're going to do observation, centre and left. We're going to signal to the left to let everyone know where we're going, and if it's safe, we're going to come across to the left-hand lane, and if not, we were free to use the right-hand lane. The next task we're going to have to deal with is a roundabout up further ahead. We're going to be turning right second exit, and as we approach the roundabout, we will see that the lanes changes from 2 to 3, and you can take the exit that we're going to be going to by either using the centre lane or the right-hand lane. The pupil here has decided to use the right-hand lane, and they are indicating to the right. For this, they have incurred a minor fault because potentially they could be confusing other road users thinking they're going to continue around the roundabout. Luckily, she's done the correct observation, centre and left, and indicated to the left, and then also gone into the right-hand lane of the two options. So she didn't incur a serious fault and then moved across to the left-hand lane when it was safe to do so. We've speeded up the video now as we are now travelling on the A31. Up ahead of us, we've already seen the sign for the roundabout which we're going to turn right, second exit to help us continue on the A31. We've selected the right hand lane, indicating right, and we're waiting for our opportunity to come onto the roundabout. We do have a situation here where we do a little bit of a jump when the car almost moves off, but luckily enough we didn't move so far that it incurred either a minor or a serious fault. It's always better in these circumstances to remain stationary until you're sure that you're going to make progress, and if you're concerned by that at all, then just put the handbrake on to secure the vehicle. As we've taken the exit here, we were safe to come into the left-hand lane, so we're going to continue down the A31. The right-hand lane has then become a junction on the right-hand side, and as that's disappeared, we've gone into single-lane carriageway. And you'll see the sign on the left-hand side telling us that traffic is flowing in both directions. Up ahead of us, you're going to see another right-hand turn. Take note of all of the warnings we're having about this right-hand turn. You had slow on the floor. You had the warning triangle with the highlights around the outside. You had coloured markings on the road telling you about this right-hand turn. If there are any vehicles ahead of you, you should be being very cautious as to whether they may be taking this turn. So doing all your preparations work, checking your centre mirror, checking your right mirror, knowing what's around you, so that in the event that anyone was turning right at that junction and they were likely to have to come to a complete stop, you were prepared to stop as well. As we continue further up the A31, we've sped the video up again as we haven't got a lot going on. As we continue down the A31, the eagle-eyed of you will see the entrance to the Boomtown Festival up in the fields on the right-hand side. And then as we approach the roundabout, we're going to be turning left, first exit, getting good speed control on the approach. It's a nice open junction, meaning that we're easily able to plan getting onto the roundabout and off of it without ever coming to a full stop. As we continue down this road, you can see there's a lot more kind of light going on, but we do see that there are no street lights on the sides of the roads. We're not seeing any repeater signs to suggest that the speed limit is anything other than the national speed limit. So all we're doing, as we're going past all of these junctions, we're doing centre mirror right. We're checking to see if anyone's joined the road behind us that we may need to be aware of as we're going down this road. We're not far away now from a speed limit change. Remember, you need to get your speed down before you get to the sign. So centre mirror, right mirror before you start slowing down to see if there's anyone behind you that you may cause a problem to. And as we continue down this road, we're going to be going over the M3 motorway, and then that will be heading us back into Winchester. Just after the bridge, we're going to have our first bit of traffic that we've had for a while. So we've been driving quite fast. So just be aware of the speed that you're driving when you've been driving fast for a while. We've got a cyclist on our left-hand side, so we're going to go around them with caution, making sure we give them that 1.5 meters of space. And then we're going to continue down the road. All the parked cars are on the right-hand side, so we're making progress so that we're not holding anyone up any longer than we need to. We've got another stretch of road here where not too much is going on. Remember, you don't want to be tunnel visioning, so whenever you see any of these movements by vehicles coming out of junctions on the right and the left, do your observations centre and right. Let the examiner know that you are paying attention to things that are going on around you, especially when going past junctions, because there could be vehicles that have joined that you weren't aware of. This could also be a good time where they're starting to do one of the show me, tell me questions. So remember to keep your wits about you. As we go around this section here, we're going to have quite a significant bend to the left-hand side. We're going to slow a little bit as it does seem quite tight and narrow. And then once we've negotiated that, we're going to be heading towards Winchester City Centre, where we're actually going to start going into the 20-mile-per-hour zones. We've got a sign here for a mini roundabout. There's your 20 mile per hour, so get down nice and early and in control. And at the mini roundabout, we're going to be turning right. Now that we're in the city centre, we're going to be seeing a lot more traffic, so a lot more working out when to move and when not to. Remember, if you haven't missed a gap, don't panic. The examiner's not going to penalise you if you haven't had an opportunity that you've missed. So just stay calm, keep your observations. Remember not to just focus on the vehicles that you're giving way to. Look for those blockers as well, because they'll help you get onto the roundabout a little bit earlier. And we finally had our opportunity and we've moved on. And then not too far after that, we're going to have the next roundabout with King Alfred. So we're going to be turning right, second exit. Obviously, we're in just outside of the main high street area here. So as we leave the exit here, we're going to do centre and left, and then we're going to be very careful for the zebra crossing. As you can see, there's someone on there. So we're going to be slowing down and giving way to these people. The next section we're going to have to deal with is we're going to be entering the one-way section. To enter this, we're going to be turning to the left, and we're also going to have traffic coming towards us that are also in turn turning to the right. We do have a zebra crossing that we can see marked up here, but there are no other markings telling us that we should be stopping. This is a flow-through lane, so we should never be coming to a full stop. Even though we've got vehicles joining to our right, it'll be unpredictable to the users of the road behind us, so therefore it'd be dangerous, and you would incur a serious fault for that. As we continue down the one-way section, we have got markings on the floor telling us that the lane we're using is for a car park. It's not the only use of this lane, so we don't need to worry about changing lanes to the right-hand lane. We've slowed down for traffic lights, waiting for the pedestrians to come across. Don't just sit there whilst you're waiting. Check your mirrors, see if there's anything changing behind you. It's very easy for cyclists and motorbikes to be pulling up alongside you, so you always want to be checking for those, and then centre mirror right before you move off. The road here is going to bend to the left quite significantly. As you can see, the sun's getting into our eyes as we come around this corner, and we are getting into a highly pedestrianised area as well, so have your wits about you. Be looking as far down the roads if you can see any pedestrians that are already on the road. The road's going to bend to the right, but the pedestrians are already finished and moved off the road. And then as we start going up the hill, we're going to see a large road sign on our left-hand side that's telling us that each lane are going to break away into different directions. So if you are planning on turning right at that section, you need to be safely moving across into the right-hand lane as early as possible. As it is, we're going to be continuing to follow the road to the left. So we're paying attention to all the pedestrians. We've got a set of traffic lights that we're waiting. We haven't had to come to a full stop. Make sure that there's no pedestrians trying to jump on at the last minute before we move off completely. Once again, as we're approaching this turn to the right, pedestrians are crossing the road. It's not a marked crossing, but obviously if pedestrians are already on the road, we're going to slow and allow them to finish what they're doing before we continue our journey. This part of the road here, the right-hand lane is going to follow ahead up the hill. Our lane is only for turning left. As before, don't just sit there kind of like looking straight ahead. Keep an eye out on things behind you. As you can see, it's still a very highly pedestrianised area, so lots of pedestrians that could be stepping in front of you as you're just about ready to move off, which happens to be the case. There's quite a few members of the public that are just stepping onto the road, so we're going to cautiously move off. Potentially we should have kind of like just waited a little bit longer before we moved off there as well. Then as we continue up the new road, we're now in a two-way street. As you can see, the cars coming towards us, so we're now out of the one-way section of Winchester. There is a small obstruction up ahead of us as we speed the video up. There you go, centre mirror right to move out round it, centre mirror left to come back, but not a lot kind of like coming back here. We're now starting to head towards the test centre, at the end of the test. This is going to put us back in all of the residential type roads that we had at the start of the test. So very narrow roads, mostly quite tight turns with a few crossroads as well. We have a vehicle that is just about to do quite an exaggerated left-hand turn that causes us to do a little bit of a slow. Remember, every time you change speed or direction, center mirror right, make sure that you're checking that your actions are safe and considered. Up ahead of us, we're going to be turning right onto Lower Stanmore Lane. There's going to be some roadwork signs on the entrance, so be careful about how you turn into the road. Just a short little jaunt up here, and then we're going to turn right back into Christchurch Road. You may be starting to recognise some of the areas as being localised to the test centre by now. So you're probably getting a little bit nervous that you're almost home and you don't want to do anything that's going to ruin a good result. As we turn into Christchurch Road, we're going to be asked to pull up on the left-hand side one more time. This time you're actually going to be asked to come to a complete stop, and the examiner is going to explain to you that they're going to ask you to do an emergency stop on this road. They're going to explain the process that they're going to have for you. They're going to tell you what to expect, and then they're going to ask you to move off when it is safe to do so. Remember, even though they've just told you about the emergency stop, you still want to make sure that you do your all-round observations before you move off. I know you're thinking about the emergency stop, but you still need to remember the basics at all time. As we proceed down the road, we're not going to be driving very fast. We're only going to get to 20 miles an hour, and then we're going to have the command to stop, and then we're going to bring the vehicle to a complete stop. Remember, this is your opportunity to take a second for yourself, secure the vehicle, take a second, breathe in, breathe out. Before you move off, the whole POM routine, prepare the vehicle, all-round observations, and then only move off when you know it's safe to do so. As we move off, we go back through that narrow section. We know that we can fit 2 cars, but we're going to be cautious. We're then going to turn right into Lansdowne Avenue. Remember, we're back in this residential area, so we've got lots of cars parked on the sides of the road. So active scanning, looking for those gaps. Anytime you're going to be changing speed or direction, center mirror right, center mirror left. And then at the end of the road, we're going to turn left into Edgar Road. When we do that, we are going to speed up the video a little bit more. We've got a couple of crossroads sections that we're going to have to deal with. I believe that on one of these, the examiner did state that he felt that the braking was a little bit sharp, a little bit late. So we did incur a minor fault for this. But we're keeping our composure. We're not too far away from home now. Another crossroads to deal with. Remember, we haven't got priority here, so cautious on the approach. There's a vehicle coming towards us. We're going to allow them to finish getting out of the way before we continue. We're then going to turn left onto Compton Road. As we did, we saw that there's an open door on the car on the right, so we're going to be careful of any people that may be getting in or out of that vehicle. Changing position, so center mirror, right mirror. Up ahead of us, we're going to be turning left for the final time back onto Christchurch Road. Nice and controlled. Another closed junction, and so cautious on the approach. Don't want to make any mistakes now. Allow the vehicle to come past us and then safely into the road. You can use the vehicle ahead of us as a notification for any vehicles that we may need to give way to. So if we see any braking from the van, we're going to be thinking about any position we can use to give way. Let's turn to the right here. is still Christchurch Road, but as there's no markings on the road, we're going to do centre mirror right and signal to the right to let people know what our intentions are. And then it's just going to be a very short drive before we get to the test centre. So we're going to turn right into the test centre when it's safe to do so. As we enter the test centre, the examiner is going to ask us to come to a complete stop. As some of you may have noticed, we haven't yet done a manoeuvre, so the examiner is going to explain to us what they want us to do. In this case, he's going to ask us to do a reverse bay parking exercise into one of the bays on the left-hand side. So the pupil pushes himself nice and close to the bays on the left-hand side. We're going to use the 45-degree method to do this. We swap to the reverse angle, and as you can see, as they're reversing back, they're doing a very cautious approach, keeping the speed very, very slow, remembering to do observations as much as possible, making sure that we include blind spots both right and left, and spending as much time as possible looking out the back window. We're taking our time, we're letting the car creep and edge back to our turning point, and then we're applying the steering to bring the car fully into the bay. When the car's nice and straight, we center the wheels and we bring this car to a controlled stop in a perfect position within the bay. This test was a success with only 2 minors, so thanks for watching and I hope to see you again soon.